Okay, all right. I feel like outcasts right now, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the phenomenon known to mankind as Saturday afternoon's main event. Holy hell, a lot happened this week, a lot is going on today, and guess what? We have a lot in store for you guys, but the reality is, before I start this show, for some reason, after 4 years I stopped to do this, if you do not know who in the blue hell I am, whether you are dumb, stupid, blonde, or just plain irrelevant, go ahead and go back to your local library, school, whatever you want to call it, get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the words phenomenal. Guys, the design of phenomenal, and of course I am not alone, because on this show I am joined by my co-host, comrade, brother from another mother and dimension. He is the one and only limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So guys, without further ado, give me 2 claps and a peep snake.
Woo!
Absolutely.
Yes, we are here. Another Saturday, another great week, another interesting week we're going to have. I think all of us are going to have a spirited debate. But to get the energy going for a spirited debate, you got to have 3 tenets to get you in that same mindset. And those 3 tenets are laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. There you go.
Perfect, peeps. Perfect. Well, thank you for going ahead and showing up, my friend. But that's not the only friend we have here today. Guys, he's in the building. Yes, he is in the building. Filling in for Uncle Triple C, who is on a sabbatical and Tribal Chief schedule, due to the fact that Dominic Mysterio is a piece of crap, who no longer has the reins of being the best in the company or even in the Judgment Day. But beyond further ado, allow me to introduce to you guys the one individual that I'm talking about. If you need to go ahead and get a laugh, or you need some good irony to go ahead and kick off your Saturday afternoon, all you got to do is just pick up your cellular device and dial the numbers 411. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. 411.
Yo, did you hit Nate just then on the woo? It sounded like dust came out.
We already started.
We got on water. That's where you got it.
Yeah, no. It's good to be. Listen. I'm doing a lot better than that Ricky Saints promo last night. That's for sure.
A lot left to be desired on that one.
In the words of one United States champion, let's talk about it. But beyond all, look, of course, Mr. 401 peeps, it's great to have you on the show, guys. Thank you for going ahead and tuning in to the ladies and gentlemen that are back at home, whether you are watching on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. We appreciate it. Go ahead and continue to show love by following us on our social media accounts. Instagram being at Saturday Afternoons _ main event, Twitter being Saturday Main, and our TikTok as well being Saturday Afternoons ME. With that being said, guys, let's not waste no time. Again, I told you it's been a crazy week. Let's go ahead and kick that off right, because this sounds on, and you know what it means. It's time for one thing and one thing only. It's time for 3-Row Talk. All of the pro wrestling news you can possibly get that consists within the span of the squared circle. Let's start off right. Breaking news coming in from today. The New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, alongside Jeff Cobb, a.k.a. the all WWE shills JC Mateo, and one Tonga Loa, have chosen to leave the WWE. This is after coming off of the heels of 23 releases happening last week that stemmed from anybody within the main roster to the NXT roster and developmental. I'll start with Mr. 411. You can take this off. How do you feel about this?
Yo, first of all, when are we going to release Nate? Because, look, let's be honest. It's long overdue. The future endeavor, his old, decrepit. Like, come on now. I mean.
Oh, Lord.
All right. I hate to see
it. Yo, okay. I never thought in a million years Kofi Kingston would not be in WWE. He's the one mainstay in this company for what, over how long has he been there now?
He's been there close to 20 years.
Right.
If you go back to his OVW days or the NXT days when they first brought him in as Kofi Jamaica, I think he was calling himself at one point.
So, what a career. I mean, no question he'll be in the Hall of Fame there one day. I'm just curious. I know you said that there's swirling rumors that they had an offer to stay and they chose not to. Do we have that confirmed, or is that just out there in the universe?
I believe it was a mutual split between Kofi and Woods based on what was going on. So from that sense, that's kind of how it seems.
Yeah, I just never thought.
Coming from Wrestling Observer and Brian Alvarez, they're saying, yeah, they had a deal, and they were asked by TKO to restructure them. So probably even take less money.
Mm-hmm.
And, the pair didn't like the deals, and they were granted their release.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're not going to be out of work for long. I mean, Jeff Cobb could go back to New Japan or anywhere else for that matter. He'll get other offers. Obviously, Tony Khan didn't want him around other than to do a job here and there, which made no sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, MLW is always looking for people. And the Tonga Loa thing was like, okay, well, you kept the brother, but then got rid of him. We know about his history with the botches, but aside from that, little surprise there. I mean, he'll obviously, if he wants to still work in the industry, can go back to New Japan. I mean, Kofi's the big surprise. And if they go to AEW or not remains to be seen. Obviously, Mr. Mark Zilla himself, Corey Richmond, would love to see a match with him and with them in the Bucks. You know, the whole wet dream match with no psychology and no story.
I still feel like that would be a good match, though, Mr. 401. Come on, man.
I know. You know, I'm just hating the hate. You know, come on now. You know me.
Look. I know you're gonna shoot the crap every now and then. I get it, Mr. 411. It's all right, man. But beyond all, Peeps, what is your thoughts?
I never thought I would see the day where you would actually say that the New Day was gone. And of all of the people within the New Day, Big E is still in the company. And the other two members of the New Day are not. And it is so odd considering the circumstances in which all of it happened and where we're at now. TKO, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show, and what they have done with a lot of the roster decisions, mostly coming from Triple H and creative. It's baffling with some of these decisions that are being made. And to lowball a guy who was a company guy for the longest amount of time. And a lot of people thought that when his initial push was killed, if we remember going back to, was it 2009, that feud that he had with Randy Orton, where it looked like whatever push he had was going to disintegrate right in front of him. It took him years to rebuild that cachet of what he was going to do in the company, and was able to years later main event WrestleMania. So out of the three of New Day, two of them won WWE championships, one main evented WrestleMania. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this and wonder, it's kind of weird that Xavier Woods gets cut like a week or two after Paige comes back into the company. So there's a lot of weird timing going on with that. So I don't know. You do with that as you will.
Wait, nobody has anything on Xavier Woods. He main evented Spank Bang.
Oh, boy.
Peeps, why did you have to point that out? I knew Mr. Rowan was going to say something so big.
That was a layup, man. That was a layup.
that was a good alley-oop from Dwayne Wade to LeBron James.
Don't ever mention the gloat in my presence, please.
The gloat? Oh,
the gloat. The greatest loser of all time.
Oh, boy.
But all in all, it's funny because as Mr. 401 pointed out, that the Bucks and New Day match might be upcoming. Corey 808 says the pants are already off.
Yeah.
The shills have begun. But all in all, I hope the best for all four of them in their future endeavors. Of course, we know they all won't be without work soon, but it's just crazy to think that this is all happening under the TKO regime right now.
Yeah, ironically, with that, when we talked about some of the cuts, one of the things that I did see over the last couple of days was Dexter Lumis, who we all know was part of the Wyatt Six as, going under the Dexter Lumis name. He's going under his name of Sam Shaw. And they showed a vignette of him with Indy Hartwell. And it looked like he was getting rid of his old gimmick. He was getting rid of his braids. He was shaving his face. And he had a date of, I think, sometime in, I believe, July, a July date, which probably means that's the end of his non-compete with WWE. So could we see him return to TNA at some point? Maybe.
We said this last week. TNA has to jump at a few of these names, if not half of the names. I mean, why not?
I mean, who knows? Xavier Woods, Consequences Creed again?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's a bad idea, especially if you're going to go ahead and take back Samuel Shaw. You know, that's another addition. I feel like if they were to jump at Malachi Black, you know, or Aleister Black for those, you know, like familiar with that name instead, you can jump at that name as well.
He's going to have a completely different name in TNA, I would imagine.
I mean, do you think AEW owns the Malachi Black name, or
I don't know?
Or you know what? He might go back to Tommy End. Who knows?
Yeah.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Yeah.
You know, all in all, I think TNA has a chance to go ahead and pull off a lot, especially with the upcoming stars that they are having in Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa. You can add more star power to get people watching on AMC. We have time to see. Of course, those 90-day complete clauses have to be up in July. And then towards the end of the summer, we'll begin to see a vast shift in the world of pro wrestling.
Yeah, the one names that one of those two names that I think we talked about, the Motor City Machine Guns. I actually believe that they might end up going to AEW, because if we remember, before they signed with WWE, they were an eyelash away from signing with AEW. And when their non-compete clause ends, if I'm not mistaken, it lines up with an AEW show happening in Michigan. So if they do decide to show up, there could be a little bit of synergy involved with that, if that's indeed what they plan on doing.
Yeah, let's get a 10-man circle jerk gangbang.
Moving on to
there you go.
We have on the show today. Mr. 401, God love you, man. But we're gonna move on here to our review of Raw and SmackDown. Pretty slow week in the world of pro wrestling when it comes to WWE and their storytelling and booking. It has gotten worse, ladies and gentlemen. Not better, worse. Although we might have SmackDowns going back to 2 hours, which we will be furthermore talking about later on in the show on our final topic. The crazy thing is that, okay, the booking for Backlash and what we're getting at Backlash seems to be much better than the Mania card. In the words of Hurricane Helms, what's up with that? What are we doing?
Undertaker, Paul Levesque on line 1. Can you also book SmackDown?
El Jefe! Yo, how hard is it? Yo, the fact that Undertaker's actually Booker of the Year right now for me is insane.
Well, if you ask Ric Flair, Undertaker owns the promotion. So there you go.
Another person we'll be talking about later today.
There you go. There you go. First one. There you go.
Right. But beyond all, I want to speak about one thing. The feud between Jacob and Roman. Peeps, as we've been seeing a lot of shift and a change from what they've been doing. Of course, we know about how there wasn't no AC in the building on Raw. And literally, I guess, Jacob choked the hell out of Roman to the point of no return. And Roman sold it perfectly, making Jacob look like more of a powerhouse going into their match later next week. What is the thought on the whole dynamic of this match? Are you feeling it? Or are you not?
I'm feeling it in the fact that they're elevating Jacob Fatu. It's weird how they're positioning both, because Jacob is supposed to be the face going in. Roman was supposed to be the face coming out of WrestleMania, and yet Roman looks more and more like a heel. And how they're trying to book this match in the way that they had it, with Jacob Fatu breaking out the Tongan death grip, which we haven't seen in quite some time. I think for most people, look at that as like a heelish move. So yeah, it works on one front, that they're going to have a good top of the card build for the Raw side, getting that whole thing built up, and going into Backlash, that works. The question is, how long does this feud last, and where are they going with Roman Reigns after this? Because I don't think anybody believes that Fatu is going to beat Roman Reigns, especially if Roman is going to be on the card at least until sometime into the summer. So we'll see where they go from there, and how will it help or hurt Jacob Fatu going forward.
Okay.
Yeah. Nate may not be feeling this, but he's definitely feeling his hemorrhoids. So there's some confusion there occasionally. But so the thing with this is, how do they do the finish, right? Because are you going to just have Jacob? He cannot lose clean, clearly. I mean, there's got to be some kind of interference, some kind of play with this. And I imagine that's their thought also, because if it's going to extend longer than just one match, which we assume it will, there's got to be a creative finish. So that's the only thing to look forward to is how they end the match.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially how they built Jacob to being an absolute monster, destroying everybody last week in ring with the chairs and all of the things that he did. That's going to be questionable if he gets beaten clean after what he did last week.
Way.
No way on earth does that make any sense.
No, listen, the Usos will be involved. I mean, I'm sure everything will play out where it'll be overbooked and such.
We'll see what happens. We have time. Well, even though it's only a week away, but, still, we'll see what they can possibly do with that. But on the SmackDown side of it, it seems like we're treading in a direction, peeps, where we might get something that you might like. Cody Rhodes defending the title against Walter? This is the direction that we're treading? I'm shocked to think that they would only pull this off within a week, but I'm thinking this is more of a match that might happen in Italy at Clash in Italy. I don't know what your thought process is. Is this the one true guy that should be the first person to get a crack at Cody post WrestleMania for the title? Do you feel that he will take the title from Cody? What are your thoughts going into all of this since we saw it last night?
This is odd in the placement of where they did this. It's the fact that if this is going to be Cody's first true challenger, when we pretty much have an idea based on where it was booked, unless there's some sort of interference from Seth, that makes it's the only sense that it makes to have that match for Backlash happen so early. As the way he has been built, Walter has been a monster for the better part of 18 months. And if that's going to be the case and you put a championship on him, then where do you go from there? I don't think that's going to happen, especially after Cody had a successful title defense at WrestleMania, and it looks like that they're going to book him forward strong. I think this is just something that's equally strong in booking Walter. And like I said, Seth has to come in and do something to kind of legitimize this whole, what does this favor back and forth, or what's going to happen over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to be getting is a lot of unclean finishes here with just interference and such if you're going to do matches like these. Because, yes. I mean, clearly we talk about the Walter retirement tour. I mean, we don't know what the deal is, but Lesnar and other people that could be on his list, like Mysterio, Ray, I mean, who else? But, yeah, this whole Cody Walter thing, I mean, obviously we're going to get a phenomenal match out of it, and so it's just how they finish it. A lot of these matches now are just about the finish.
Yeah, and it's almost as the way that they're booked, it almost telegraphs what is going to happen even before the match even starts. You just have some of the intricate booking of as far as some of the results of some of the storyline beats that they want to emphasize. But for the most part, I think it's safe to say going in, Cody's probably not going to lose the championship unless there's something that we don't know about going forward.
Indeed. Well, we'll have time to see. I'm still thinking this is a Clash in Italy match, so probably they can give it 4 weeks to actually fully prepare for it. We'll have time to see. Although I don't think we should have 2 championship matches at Backlash because, of course, the Roman match is already overshadowing Cody's match if it happens. So let's just move on from there, especially knowing the fact that Raw is averaging more viewers than SmackDown, where SmackDown is losing about 300,000 every week, and Roman literally started off the first Raw after WrestleMania with 3.3 million viewers live. So, all in all, we know.
But is that nationally or
I think that's I think that's globally.
Globally, 3.3. Yeah. Right. We don't know what that number is nationally.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, in that sense, then we'll just have to go ahead and see if they go ahead and lock those numbers in, or at least show them to us, or maybe that number is genuinely bad, domestically. Who knows?
So here's a question for you. What is the latest SmackDown number that is so low? Because I'm not privy to this.
The latest SmackDown number that they just did is 1.27 million. So,
okay, but they've been doing in that proximity. I know they even did under 1 million at one point, right?
Yeah, they do 1.4, 1.5 over the last couple of weeks, and then they're hovering between 1.2 and 1.3 million. So that's kind of their wheelhouse. About a month or so ago is when they kind of dipped into the 900,000, but I guess that was kind of kind of like an outlier, as the numbers have steadily improved over the last couple of weeks.
So, well, here's the greatest question. What's my motivation to watch right now?
Danhausen? I'm kidding. Guys.
It's just true. It's like the wrestling, the entire wrestling business right now. There's no real reason to watch unless you want to see an 8-star match with no anything, just the match. We know what it is. We've seen it 1,000 times, and WWE just gives you talking. Right? They talk. They give you 3-minute matches, 6-minute matches, the occasional longer match.
Ads.
Yeah, as I'm about to say, as opposed to WrestleMania, where they give you ads in 5-minute matches. So
there's just nothing to watch right now. It's like you have to really be a diehard of the diehards to watch or host a podcast to come out here and do this show, because it's not appealing. It's really not appealing. There's nothing must see.
You're not wrong. Subjecting myself to 3-hour Friday sucks. I mean, I'm just saying, thank God for Netflix and 2.25, but Jesus. Anywho, look, that was our Raw and SmackDown review, so thank you for that, gentlemen. We'll move now from Raw and SmackDown to Raw and encountered 80-year-old Ric Flair. Peeps. So
yes.
last week, it seems as if your guy there was going ahead and talking hella crap to Ludwig Kaiser. This week, he apologizes. Damn, he must be a son of a bitch.
I find this hilarious because I think somebody talked him off the ledge. First and foremost, the interview that he did with Ariel Helwani, he did the entire interview drunk. As you could hear it in his voice, he was hammered. So, what a surprise. Now, the issue with Flair is that when he says something or does something that hurts him in the eyes of the media, he then gives you the mea culpa like a couple of days later or a week later or whatever is the case. And this is what he did. He went on his social media a couple of days after the interview blew over. And I personally think somebody got in his ear. But this is what he said. Mr. Ludwig Kaiser, I never implied that you couldn't work or didn't have talent. I actually understand that you are doing really well with The Undertaker's promotion. And I did not know The Undertaker had a promotion. But in any event, there's Ric Flair for you. I am sorry that I got upset. I am naturally very protective of my daughters. As I am sure you grow older, you will be too. Continued success. I apologize for anything I said about you personally. It was not about your professional skill, which I have heard is very good. Now, mind you, he said just a week before that this guy he said he would be out of wrestling within a year, didn't have enough talent to do whatever he wanted to do.
Wait, you forgot about the part he thought he was 24 and English.
Yes, 24 and English, and wouldn't be in the business in a year, and was Tiffany Stratton's husband. I mean,
right.
Flair says things because it seems like when somebody upsets his psyche, he goes out there and he tries to defend himself. And in trying to defend himself, he comes across sounding like a complete fool.
Are you guys privy to that? Apparently, Ludwig has moved on from Tiffany. He's now dipping his pen into one of the AAA announcers.
I remember hearing about that. Yes.
Yes. In every sense and in every facet, I feel like the minute Ludwig went ahead and touched down in AAA, he looked at Taker, he saw the women, he looked back at Taker, and he hit the old-fashioned gracias. But all in all, Ludwig being Ludwig, I don't even think he cares about an 80-year-old Ric Flair talking down on him. I feel like this just adds more publicity to Ludwig himself. And I mean, he's doing great in Mexico, and I can't wait for that mask versus mask match because again, that's about to be great booking. And if we pull out 5 stars from a Meltzer, look, I'm just gonna have to say, give me Taker to run the rest of the main roster.
Right. So based on what we're hearing about how good the show is, are the numbers reflective of that? Are you two pulling in really strong numbers for that show?
From what I see when they go ahead and put out these different shows on YouTube, after the show's done, I'll look at how much the viewership is at. and it'll say it'll be about around 400 to 500,000 views on YouTube.
What? That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
What?
If we remember the first When Worlds Collide show that they did last year, I think 24 hours after the show premiered, it did well over 1 million views. So they have the numbers on YouTube for that product, and Taker seems to be doing a really good job. So
an amazing job.
Yes, amazing.
Never in
yes.
a million years. Never in a million
Yeah.
years. And
Well, you know what? I hate to say this, but I have to do it. We have to pump the brakes because for a good year plus, everybody thought Paul Levesque was the greatest booker of all time. So let's just see what happens, and as we are in still the honeymoon phase of the Undertaker's booking regime.
Of course, of course. But I just have to say, El Jefe's doing a great job. He is doing a great job. Hopefully he keeps it up. But all in all, moving from Ric Flair's apology, right? Jeez. Let's go ahead and talk about another Hispanic star going ahead and having an injury. Stephanie Vaquer is injured from what I'm being told, peeps.
Karma. I'm sorry, did I say that?
Trouble. That's big. Let me stop. I'm not singing that stupid song. But peeps, what's going on here with Stephanie Vaquer?
It seems like the injury that she got from prior to WrestleMania has been aggravated. And from what the reports are saying is that she's going to probably be off of TV or away from the business for an extended period of time. There's no, as far as a finite date as to when she would be back or how long she's going to be gone. But from what all of those reports were saying, there's going to be, it's extended at least a couple of months from what they're saying. And right now, as we've seen since WrestleMania, there really hasn't been a lot of Stephanie Vaquer on Raw. And now we know why. So it's going to really hurt the women's roster on Raw, especially knowing what kind of a talent she is, what she can do in ring. And I think that the story that they're going with now on Raw is what they plan on doing within the Judgment Day between Liv Morgan and seemingly Roxanne. Maybe they might actually have something where Roxanne maybe turns on Liv, maybe wins a title from her at some point, turns on her. Who knows? That's kind of the way those are the vibes that I'm getting from that. But the whole Stephanie Vaquer part of the story is what that's been the impetus as to where they're going with the Judgment Day.
They always have to pivot off injuries, of course. And listen, we don't really know what they had written or planned for Stephanie post WrestleMania. There's a lot of unknown to that, right? Unless you guys heard they were going to do something with her and then the injury derailed that. But sometimes they cool people off after a title reign. I mean, speaking of which, and I haven't been watching, so I don't even know. Has Jade been back on TV since her title loss?
I believe maybe not even once, I don't think. It's like they took her off of TV since WrestleMania, and maybe that's the cool, as you said, the cool off and kind of recalibrate until they figure out what they're going to do next with her.
Well, the funny thing is that Tony Khan did the same thing to her for a long time, though, when she lost that title in AEW, because a lot of people went to the whole like, oh, she got exposed, or in this case, she had a lot of backstage turmoil that we've learned, especially with Rhea Ripley. So who knows if they even want to use her right now.
Yeah. And we'll see if they can then kind of work off of that animosity that they had on social media, or if it was just a big work that was blown out more just for the storyline and what they did for it, and see where they go from there. Because I think that Jade, being the talent that she is, over the last, let's say, 3 or 4 matches that we've seen Jade wrestle in, she has exponentially gotten better. In-ring work rate has been really good. She's had some pretty good matches. So she's on the right path of her in-ring work. Let's see what they do afterwards, because she's going to be off TV. I don't know for how long.
Indeed. But from there, we move to some unfortunate news in the world of AEW. You could also say TNA and, somewhat WWE in a sense. But Rebel, who is basically known in AEW for her work in All Elite Wrestling, she has announced that she has terminal ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Of course, it is unfortunate. It is sad. Of course, this is coming off of reports that earlier in the last couple of years, she was battling lymphoma and certain types of cancers. And now, unfortunately, we have to hear that it is terminal ALS. Peeps, your thoughts?
It's sad and unfortunate when you hear anybody go through this. We know Steve Mongo McMichael most recently passed away from ALS. We know Steve Gleason, who played for the Saints, is diagnosed with it. We've seen many athletes and celebrities that have had ALS that passed away. Eric Dane, another actor who passed away recently from that same diagnosis. It's an insidious disease. You don't lose your thoughts. You just lose your motor skills, and you basically become a prisoner within your own body. It's a torturous way to go, and it's sad to see that she's going to be going through this. And I hope that the fans, her family, and friends can keep her spirits positive and keep her in your thoughts, because she's going to need it over however long the road goes for her.
Yeah, no, obviously horrible, just devastating. I mean, I listen, I follow her on Instagram, so it was so sad to learn the news there. And I mean, obviously she's just torn apart by it. And I've always been a fan of her work. I mean, not just as like, if you remember the Menagerie in TNA with, what was it, Psycho Steve or Crazy Steve? Excuse me.
Crazy Steve, yes. Yeah.
Crazy Steve, Mike Knox, Rebel, and maybe one other person I'm forgetting. I love that. Actually, they were entertaining. They always brought something different to the table. And I mean, she was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, so she had a history in terms of with those long legs. I mean, those legs was so long, if you remember. Yes. Yeah, big fan of her work, and she seemed like seems like such a pleasant person. So that's unfortunate for good people. You know, when horrible things happen to good people.
Yeah,
indeed,
exactly.
Indeed. But all we can do here at Same is just wish her the best. Prayers to her family and friends, and of course, just prayers and requests to everybody who has and suffers from ALS. Just prayers and prayers and prayers. But all in all, that marks the end of 3-Year-Old Talk. Now we're moving into our ratings. Peeps, give us the ratings.
Okay, the ratings, which kind of belies what Mr. 411 has been talking about over the last couple of weeks when it comes to respect of the ratings. AEW won the week again, but it's getting less and less so as far as how all of the ratings are diminishing. AEW did 596,000 viewers with a 0.08 in the demo, which is rather low. And NXT did 541,000 with a 0.07 in the demo. More importantly, last week's TNA's ratings, 175,000. They have completely dropped. With a 0.03 in the demo.
So let me just ask this. Is the NBA playoffs a factor right now?
Oh, well.
Oh, of course.
Yes, without question. Yes.
So can we probably just cut them some slack? Or,
that's fair. Yeah.
Wait till June, at least, when the whole thing is over? Because I can only imagine, come on, when you look at the demographic of teams that are in the playoffs, most of them are pro wrestling cities. So what happens to those glands of people that do watch professional wrestling on their cable networks? It drops. So I have to say, and you get that big gain from New York crowds. So then again, I'd rather watch the Knicks instead of watching Dynamite or SmackDown or any other.
That's not a hard decision.
It isn't. Technically, it isn't. You're not wrong.
Listen, you'd have a tough time during the Monday Night Wars watching the sports. You'd probably want to go to a bar during the Monday Night Wars just so you can see everything at the same time. Because
guys, what did you guys do during the Monday Night Wars when it came down to playoff games?
You know what? I do know this. We had 2 TVs in my dorm, so we were watching both. And I imagine with the playoff, we would switch back and forth as much as we could. Because back then, listen, I'll say this. Back when when Nitro was hot, Nitro was the must-see show. You could always have Raw just kind of in the background until they got hot, and then you could always watch the playoffs instead of Raw. But Nitro, you couldn't miss Nitro.
Yeah, and the funny part about it was Monday Night Football's ratings had diminished around that time because of the Monday Night Wars, and they had to kind of acknowledge it at some point. That maybe wrestling is really starting to eat into our ratings. So
although the one thing some people would say they would watch Nitro on the replay, which for a while was happening immediately after the show.
Yes.
Wait, Nitro had a replay?
Yes.
Turner was really paying good money to WCW. Holy hell!
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can do those kinds of things when you own the network the product is on. So absolutely.
Well, look, from there, when it comes down to it, Peeps, thank you for the ratings, my friend. We got our question of the week now, and this one is stemming from Long Island Isaiah. Okay, perfect. But look, when it comes down to it, guys, before I go ahead and get into the question, I just want to let you guys know, if you want to be one of those individuals that sends in the question and you want to make sure that it gets highlighted on the show during the question of the week, all you got to do is one thing and one thing only. If you think your question is that damn good, in the words of Triple H, send it in to our DMs on Instagram at Saturday afternoons_main event. And if it is good, in the words of JBL, I guarantee it will be on the next episode of the show. So let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah. One real quick thought too. If you want to help Nate change his diapers, you can also do that.
I'll just mail them off to Mr. 411.
Can I just donate to his hospice fund? Like, holy hell! Like, can I do that? I'll set up a GoFundMe for Peeps, guys. But all in all, Long Island Isaiah says this: SummerSlam tickets have dropped. They're actually pretty convenient. Does TKO keep this new business model? Okay, so from what I've been hearing, yes, SummerSlam tickets did drop this week, and from what I'm hearing, tickets are not bad. Nosebleeds are going for $100 for both nights. So, does this mean that TKO is actually listening? Will they keep the model? Do you guys genuinely think they'll keep the model? Or is this just a way to go ahead and silence fans for a little minute? Separate.
Where is SummerSlam?
Minnesota.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't know.
Maybe that has something to do with it.
Nate, what do you think?
I think right now what TKO is doing is they've heard all the backlash. I think they realize that between now and SummerSlam, we're already in May. So you got June, July, August. You got 3 months between now and then. And they know that SummerSlam is considered the WrestleMania of the summer for them, as far as the hierarchy of their premium live events. So if they're going to do that, and they're making it a 2-night show like they did last year when it was in Cleveland, the thing that you want to be able to do is assure people that if you want to go, that you can actually afford to get into the building. I don't think they want a repeat of what they did in Vegas. Vegas is a different city than in Minnesota. So I think that probably has a lot to do with it.
Okay. So
what do you think, Rich?
For me, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it as, look at the numbers that they pulled in for people who showed up to WrestleMania this past 2 weeks ago. Look at how it is when it comes down to the strategic sense that fans have to do to at least get into these shows last minute, where they wait until tickets drop the day of, and they're like, okay, now I can buy them. Obviously, we know that $55K that was in that building for WrestleMania Night 2 was probably a good definite. The $50K from the day before, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at last minute comps that they just gave out to city goers. Because
among the workers that were probably in the locker room, or the guys that were in the bathroom, or whoever else they counted that came into the building.
Because when we genuinely look at it, the number was about 42 to 43,000 that they said was sold.
We said that, right? That was
so the extra 7 to 10,000. Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know if we talked about this or not, but do you remember the time during, I don't know if it was night 1 or night 2, with this random dude sat at the commentary table and they introduced him and he didn't talk?
He didn't say jack.
Right. He paid for that. He paid X amount of money to sit at the table but be silent. He's some like bigwig. He was in the front row later on.
Good grief.
So apparently TKO is giving away these packages to people. You know what? I have an idea. We should do it for same. You can spend $5K, spend the day with Peeps Nate and help him fix his roof.
Oh, Lord. Lord.
Can I cut his hair as well? Yo, I love you, man, but you know.
Yo, man, there's some people that watch this show that are on the floor crying right now.
I just know it. It sucks because I have to make fun of an elderly man, and it's like I'm doing it against my will. I have no other choice. Mr. 401 has me hostage, man. But yo, I love you, man. I love you, brother. I love you.
I understand.
But all in all, but as it proceeds down to it, my thoughts, expect it to go up again. I'm looking at it like, look, we still have yet to know where Survivor Series is going to be. So that's supposed to be something major. Money in the Bank, we still have yet to see how much those tickets are going to be. Because, of course, this was reported back 2 years ago when we found out that we were supposed to be getting WrestleMania in New Orleans. And instead, they switched it back to Las Vegas just to go ahead and give New Orleans Money in the Bank.
What about that Clash in Italy one? You can imagine what the prices are going to be for that.
Because they know they can get a crowd in Italy that are diehards.
Yes.
So they always go there. So, obviously, this is going to be big. And then we're hearing that, there's a big announcement for WrestleMania in 2028. Which reports have already come out that it's supposed to be Nashville, Tennessee. So can you imagine WrestleMania in Nashville at that new Nissan Stadium? They're going to have to boost ticket prices again. I expect it to happen. They're going to want to break an all-time gate record, being that stadium is going to be 2 years old by that point. They're going to boost prices back up. They're doing this right now to silence you guys and say, oh, well, TK is doing a great job. No, they're not. Anywho, that's my thought process. And I'm signing on it. And I'm signing off back to it and sending it back to Pete's. But all in all, Long Island Isaiah, when it comes down to the question, thank you. Again, if you want to send in a question and you want it to be on the show, DM us on our Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Send it in.
Yo. Who's going to sell their butthole for WrestleMania tickets?
In Riyadh! Woo!
Look, gentlemen, don't say that too much now. Because I just heard that the Night of Champions tickets just came out for Saudi.
Mm-hmm.
It costs $300 US to sit ringside.
Wow.
So
that's considered a bargain.
Can you imagine what WrestleMania would look like? I'm not lying. I'm genuinely thinking about it now because I'm like, you know what? A $1,500 flight doesn't sound bad when I get to sit right next to the green shirt guy for $300. Just saying. This might be the cheapest Mania for people to attend, Mania ticket-wise.
Will you have a gas mask and a bulletproof vest in case things go awry?
Oh please. We're American. We have the Israeli Iron Dome.
I thought you were going to go Tommy Dreamer. I'm hardcore. Man.
Remember that because they won't appreciate what I do after, like Tommy Dreamer, because it's one of those countries. But
boy.
All in all, wait, they actually approve of having multiple wives. It's okay. But all in all, look.
Jada's gonna be upset when you saying that one.
It's crazy that whenever you mention Tommy Dreamer, I can't help but always remember the thought that he had in his head that he wanted to jump the rail and shoot Paul Heyman. That's insane. Like, what?
Yes.
Imagine how quickly the company would have died after. Like, I'm just saying, I don't feel like WWE. That would have been our Chris Benoit moment before Chris Benoit. Like, imagine Tommy really.
The world of wrestling would be a completely different state of mind right now if something like that had happened.
Indeed. CT would have been the talk back then, though. But all in all, look, we got to the final topic of our show today. It's TKO's influence on WWE's current state. Looking at it, we have 17 minutes to talk about this topic. I don't think we need an overrun, but I think we can go ahead and genuinely bounce off of each other, pause, no diddy, and actually narrow this all down. But when it comes down to TKO's influence, look at it. I'm just going to name a couple of things off the bat. The amount of advertisements on everything, including tables, rings, what's next, steel chairs, the amount of advertisements being taken up for shows to the point where the wrestling gets decluded in the midst of time. The amount of releases, even though they're hitting good numbers and billions of dollars kind of deals, literally every quarter, every single quarter, monthly or quarter yearly earning. The amount of times you have to sit there and see that they're cutting down production costs to where stages are always looking the same anymore. And it's not like we have a unique stage for every pay-per-view. Everything begins looking bland. They don't even like spending on pyro unless your name is Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns. What's going on here, guys?
How about just the fact that, what was it, Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro made a combined $100 million last year?
Yeah. Ari made $67.4 million in 2025, which is insane. Absolutely insane. I think if you're looking at it from the standpoint of what is WWE before TKO and what is WWE today, Before TKO got involved, the WWE, for whatever it was worth, was for the better part of 60 years a family-owned wrestling promotion that goes back from Jess McMahon to Vince Sr. to Vince Jr. and all of the people within the family, protecting the wrestling business as much as they could, considering by the mid to late 80s, kayfabe had already been unleashed, and we knew that the wrestling fans that were going to stay or the wrestling fans that were going to grow the product were going to already be in on the deal that kayfabe had been dead. Yeah. And then they just grew the product from there with pitfalls up and down. But at least for the most part, one of those things that we could talk about is the fact that with Vince McMahon, for all intents and purposes, thought about the fans and the amount of people that were coming to see those shows and made sure that it was an affordable product, whether you liked his storylines or any of the creations of creative in any of that time, you could go to see it. Now we have 2 and 3 shows a year in Saudi Arabia. We have 2-night WrestleManias. We have 2-night SummerSlams. We have now the product being fragmented, no longer on free television. You have to either have a cable subscription or streaming service. As was mentioned, the Slim Jim advertisements on the tables and all of the commercial through premium live events. And the fact that TKO last year as a company made $4.735 billion and had an income of $546 million, are now looking at cutting so many of the talents that are, considering how much they bring in, woefully underpaid for the things that they've done, for the sacrifices that they've had, makes the product, not the product itself, but it makes the company look rather cheap and looks like just any other corporation that is just building in on propping themselves up by foundationally adding more and more money to the coffers while pushing out less and less of a product to the fans that want to see the product. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Now, Chris.
I mean, are they just going to kill the audience is the biggest question, right? I mean, how long does the audience continue to dwindle before it picks back up, or does it pick back up? I mean, when people get sick of this and they just keep leaving, what are they going to do then?
Now, here's my thing. When it all boils down to the whole direction of creative, from what we're hearing when it comes down to Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel saying that they have the opportunity to even oversee creative when it comes down to the realm of Triple H. How do we feel about that? Because it's one thing on the money-making side to oversee all of that, but to also meddle in creative affairs when we all thought that was only to the chief content officer himself. What's the whole scenario and case behind that?
It was that Mark Shapiro had some kind of conference call or a town hall meeting or something where he was asked that question and they discussed it and he said, yes, that has happened. We know it happened with McAfee. I mean, clearly Triple H, listen, we don't know the Rock status there. We don't know what kind of input he has. Apparently he misses all the meetings, right? He still got paid how much money to do nothing this past year?
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think that I could miss all the meetings and not have to go ahead and attend and still make millions and millions of dollars.
Right. So, I mean, look, we don't know where the input is coming from. Is it The Rock? Shapiro and Manuel have no concept of the wrestling business. So it has to be The Rock in their ear saying something of what we could do differently. And Triple H must know this. He knows. I mean, look, we all know the WrestleMania issue with Cody and everything that transpired there and then them having to give Cody the match back. And why would it stop? It's not going to stop. What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, and the input of TKO, and this is something that's been floated around for the last 2 days, which kind of gives a lot of the mindset as to what TKO is. We've talked about the financial aspect of where TKO is, as far as trying to make the shareholders as rich as humanly possible, and using the same model that they use for the UFC, which is another entity that they own. Knowing that with all the money that they're making, you have creative which was initially run by wrestlers and the people that were in the company that knew what they were doing, are now being squeezed by the corporation above them. And the reason why I say this is, look at all of those releases from last week. A good chunk of those releases were to SmackDown. Yeah. SmackDown's roster being cut down as much as it has, as far as from those initial releases, were because, as we talked about, SmackDown is going back to 2 hours in June. And having such a bloated roster in the eyes of TKO, it doesn't make any sense, especially with the supernatural, the dark aura type characters, the Aleister Blacks and Zelina and the Wyatt Sixes of the world and those kinds of ones. There, ironically, the one person that has a quote unquote dark character, but it's in a kind of comical way, would be Danhausen, and he's the biggest rage the WWE has had since WrestleMania. So you're looking at it from that aspect, but also you can also add more credence to that because Alexa Bliss, who has had hints of a darker character that she wanted to come back and bring out, she went on, I believe, social media and said she's retired that character that was linked to the Wyatt Six. So TKO has a lot more influence on the booking than a lot of people probably even imagine.
Which is insane because they have a company called the UFC where everybody punches each other in the face and they bleed half to death. It's like, what? So a dark character is not acceptable, but crazy violence is?
Yes, it's insane.
It pays when the president that they love so much is literally letting them host a show at the White House lawn.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting with also this shows you the discord that the wrestling fans have with the releases, as we talked about before, when all of the releases first kind of came out and we heard about Kairi Sane being cut. During the segment with Asuka and Io Sky, we heard the fans chanting, "We want Kairi, we want Kairi." There was the notion that has been floated around that maybe she was going to go back to Japan at some point, so she didn't resign. They decided to move on from her. But also the timing that TKO has, which kind of shows you how tone deaf they can be, is that they released a video on social media roughly either the day after or maybe 2 days after all the cuts happened, where they were kind of highlighting the people that are within creative, one of them being John Cone. John Cone, if you are a WWE fan and recognize the name, he's a former referee. And the other reason why you may recognize or may not know about him is if we remember WrestleMania from a couple of years back, Braun Strowman had a tag team partner who was named Nicholas. I believe he was an 8-year-old, or was he 10-year-old?
10, yeah.
That's John Cone's son.
Oh.
So, yeah. So there's a lot of weirdness that people look at when they hear about these kinds of things. And then when that video went out, because like I said, it was about maybe a minute and a half, and they were showcasing people within talent relations. The comment section was bombed by the fans. We want Kairi. Oh, these are the guys. There's a reason why all these people are gone. So I think that the fan discourse with WWE is quite palpable, and you can now see that it is reaching a point where the fans are not only becoming vocal, they're starting to show their displeasure.
Nate, it's a travesty that I can no longer say the Bukkake Warriors. I mean, come on, man. What a tag.
Mr. 411, folks.
I was going to proceed with a joke of my own until Mr. 411 just overshadowed that completely with the Bukkake statement.
There you go.
Mr. 411, I love you, man. But Jesus.
Anyway, an acquired taste, would you say?
A lot of people would probably say that.
You know, it's funny because, you know, Corey Richmond says Joe Hendry's concert was in bad taste after the releases. But hey, can we fire Logan Paul? Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Anywho, here's the issue with me. Like, John Cone, you know, I like some of the WWE referees. What the F does he know about talent relations? If you catch the memo there. But all in all, I feel that the discourse and displeasurement when it comes down to how TKO's running things is that they're really just all about the money. I'm fully shown that by the way that they talk about Mania being, an all-time record gate, when we don't even know what viewership looked like for the first genuine WrestleMania on ESPN streaming platforms, but they talk about the numbers off of what they pulled within the first hour. I see those issues. You see the numbers of people that they're releasing, which in my mind, it's them going ahead and giving Triple H a quota, Triple H having to meet the quota, and looking at a list of people for him to fire. I don't think talent. Do you really think the power and the jobs of WWE wrestlers lies in the hands of John Cone?
Yeah. Don't kill the messenger. That's literally the message. Don't kill the messenger. They're just there.
They're just there. I'm not gonna blame them. This comes down to the chief content officer, the individual who looks at the individuals who's in the company and the stuff that he has planned for them. And if he sits there and looks at it, he's gonna be like, "Oh, Zoe Stark. Yeah, God love her. I love her. Yeah, but she's been injured. Oh, she's back. Ooh."
At least Laurinaitis knew the business.
If you want to give any positive to him on any of that, that's insane. It's crazy.
What business are we talking about? Giving the business or actually giving back to the business?
If you're looking at what TKO was trying to accomplish, and I remember hearing this in a different podcast about a week ago, TKO, the hypothesis that some people are taking is that TKO is not going to own WWE forever. Is that they're going to try and wring out as much money as they can out of the company while it's hot, and then at some point sell the company. Do I see that happening? It's a possibility. I don't see it happening at all.
Saudi.
Well, initially,
haven't I been hearing that they're saying that Vince wants to partner with a company in Saudi just to buy back the WWE?
Anything is possible.
I would not put it past Vince to do something like that. Yet at the same time, we also know, and I think that we all have been around this business long enough to see that where the money goes is where the business then circulates to. If the money is going into production, is going into storylines and doing all of those things, that's where they're going to press the business on. It's not into what I care about in the business, which is the in-ring work and the quality of the wrestlers and what they're doing in ring. And if they don't focus on that, then what are we doing? Because what WWE used to always do is it was always about the merchandising, the action figures, the video games, when they used to sell Blu-ray discs and DVDs and getting the wrestling content out there and the t-shirts. That's where a lot of the focus was on WWE and not in the in-ring product. And when Triple H took over creative, it kind of shifted somewhat where the in-ring work and the storylines actually started to work out better. It seems to almost be you're trying to serve two masters, so to speak. And that's where the problem is with Triple H trying to figure out from the end of WrestleMania up until January of the next year. He has everything that he can with the talent that he's got with his company and what he's doing. It's from January until WrestleMania where it seems like TKO continues to meddle into his creative, and we get the Drek we got this year. We got the Drek that we got last year, and the changing of what happened at WrestleMania 39, where Cody was supposed to win the main event. And apparently, based on what was explained, the outcome was changed through certain people within the know.
Nate, you got to get on the phone to WBD to see if we have an overrun, because TKO said we don't. They're cutting back. Of
course. Of course.
TKO's not giving us an overrun.
Yes.
Damn it. But all in all, look, we can only hope for the best when it comes down to TKO running the WWE. We see what has happened within the last year and a half. We can only hope that it gets better, not worse, although it has gotten very worse. But all in all, this is the world of professional wrestling that we know and love, and that we will continue to go ahead and defend its honor till the day that we supposedly become peeps. I can't say die, because Peeps been living for 800 years, and somehow the MFR is still not dead, but it's okay.
Maybe Danhausen can curse TKO.
I mean, he almost did it to the Knicks, so I can't see why not.
Cursed
Oh,
The
real
fact that
quick before
Pete
we go.
sounds like him is insane. But yeah, Mr. 401.
One parting shot, because I mentioned it in my open. The promo, not only the promo, the lack of reaction from Ricky Saints and the size difference and how he looked so small next to Cody. We joke about 205 Live. That dude doesn't even weigh 205. So, I mean, it just came across as mid and not a main eventer in my eyes. I didn't see the match. I'm sure the match was decent because I know he can work, but you guys agree with the promo and the whole like looking at the size difference.
I hated the promo. Yeah. I hated the promo.
Right.
The reaction was even funnier. The part where he was like, "Oh, I'm everything all of your baby mamas would wish you guys were." I just sat there like, in what degree? I was like, "You're 5 foot nothing, 200 nothing.
Yes.
Like you're nothing. Hold on. It's my phone, Cacao. Hey, it's nothing. Yes. He says he knows you. You're nothing." Like,
yes.
Ricky, come on.
It was bad, and he's been better than that. Listen, AEW, he had some good moments on the mic against certain people. I think what was it? MJF a couple moments, and maybe other people I'm forgetting. But
you know what it reminded me of?
Even in his tag team, and when he and Big Bill won the AEW tag titles, and he was the mouthpiece for both of them, he did some really good promo work against FTR. So yeah, he can cut promos. You know
what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when Adam Copeland was on Collision with him and said that he just reminds him of a vanilla midget version of The Rock.
Yeah.
Like he was just cosplaying Dwayne Johnson, and I was just like, damn it, Ricky, like, let's get back to what you were doing on NXT, because I felt like that was much more better.
See, like, and that's also part of the problem. WWE, I don't think, did a really good job of promoting him outside of NXT to give you a reason to care about him, because he was in NXT for what, maybe 6 months?
Yeah.
And they didn't do enough to let you know what he could do, who he was. And I'm pretty sure outside of the NXT audience and the diehard wrestling fans, a lot of people probably didn't even know who he was. When his music came out, remember when you saw him in NXT and his music comes out and he throws his hands in the air, the fans would repeat it. He did that on SmackDown, and it was crickets. Yep. So I don't think those fans, outside of maybe the loyal NXT fans or people that know who he is, they've really had any idea who he was and how they were supposed to react to him.
You know who I think should have got that moment last night over Ricky Saints? Royce Keys.
Yeah. Guaranteed. Yeah.
We're right up here, Mr. 401. We're right up here.
Yes.
But all in all, that's TKO for you. But speaking of that, guys, that will mark the end of our final topic. And not only that, that marks the end of today's show. What a show. They gave us a 2-minute overrun from what they could give us. I mean, WBD does this better, but, it is what it is. Yeah. All in all, guys, thank you for going ahead and tuning in to today's show. We thank you. We will see you next week for the following episode. The same, of course, remember to follow us on our social media platforms. Like, subscribe, share this video if you possibly can. Just 10 seconds of your time. Go ahead and do and click that share button. But all in all, this was Same. We're out of Phenomenal One.
And I, the Peeps Nate.
And I, the third member of the Bukkake Warriors.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. It's going to be weird to say this, but yes, we came. We saw.
And in the words of the great Xavier Woods post-sex tape with Paige, we conquered! See you next week, guys! Of course, jokes aside, Phenomenal One, Peeps Snake, Mr. 411. This was Same. That's it. Peace. Love. Farewell. Extreme.